Okay, so today you're going through some tough stuff. I don't know what's going on in your life, but I imagine if you're like me, you got stuff going on in your life, and sometimes it's really easy to feel like God is against us. God is punishing us. God is trying to just bring about our destruction, and He wants ill for us and not good. But nothing could be further than the truth. And today, as we talk about the benefits of trials, I just want to focus on one thing today. I was thinking about doing several, but there's just one because I really want to focus on this one. Discipline, hardships, those things that are challenging to us, those are proof that God loves you. And I know some people are going to be like, that is crazy. That is just not the truth at all. And I know somebody's out there is going to think, well, boy, God must love me a whole lot based on what I'm going through. But the reality is, yes, He does. He loves you enough. He loves you too much to leave you where you're at, and He's going to bring about good in your life. But in order to do that, you have to go through some challenges to get your character to the place that it needs to be. You know, we know Hebrews 11. It's the faith chapter. It's the chapter that we love to read. It builds our faith. But chapter 12 of Hebrews is just as excellent. It is wonderful. It's talking about how Jesus endured the cross. And now we are to look to Him as the finisher, the author and the finisher and the perfecter of our faith. And then here in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 3, it says, "For consider Him who endured such hostility from sinners against Himself, lest you become weary and discouraged in your souls." He's saying, remember that Jesus went through a whole lot of stuff Himself. People treated Him poorly, and He went through physical punishment. He said, remember that when you're going through challenges so that you understand what God is doing in your life. And then He goes on to say, in verse 5, He says, "And you have not forgotten the exhortation, which speaks to you as to sons." Now he's quoting out of here out of Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 5. He says, "My son, do not despise the chastening of the Lord, nor be discouraged when you are rebuked by Him. For whom the Lord loves, He chastens, and scourges every son whom He receives. If you endure chastening, God deals with you as with sons. For what son is there whom a father does not chasten? But if you are without chastening, of which all have become partakers, then you are illegitimate and not sons. Furthermore, we have had human fathers who corrected us, and we paid them respect. Shall we not much more readily be in subjection to the Father of spirits and live? For they indeed for a few days chastened us as seemed best to them, but He for our profit, that we may be partakers of His holiness. Now no chastening seems to be joyful for the present, but painful. Nevertheless, afterward it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it." Now, he says here, if you are loved by God, you are going to go through some discipline. And we're going to talk about discipline here in just a moment. But notice here, he says, you go through discipline so that you can partake in the holiness of Jesus, and so that you can bear the peaceable fruit of righteousness. That's the end goal, and we got to keep that in mind. So when we're going through the hard times right now, there is a prize on the other end that we're working towards. And Paul writes about that in one of his epistles. But right now, I want to focus on discipline. Okay? Right here, when he quotes this out of Deuteronomy, he uses three Greek words for discipline. He uses chastening, rebuking, and scourging. Now, I'm not going to get into the Greek words for you right now, but I do want to just tell you what those mean. The first one, chastening, it means instruction. Okay? It means guiding. Let's say your child wants to go put his finger in an electrical socket. No, you're going to tell him, no, don't do that. Your child runs out into the street to play, and you say, no, don't do that. That's not good for you. A child starts to put his hand on a hot stove. You say, no. You're instructing him. And it seems like you're being mean to him, but from your perspective, you know that you're training him. That's dangerous. Don't go there. Sometimes it also means not now. Child wants something, and you say not now because it's not beneficial for them. You know they've already had too much candy, and more is not going to help them. It's going to make them sick. And so you say not right now. And the second word is rebuke. It is a verbal response to them. It is a verbal reproof. This is what Jesus did in the letters to the churches in Revelation. He verbally reproved them. He rebuked them quite sternly and quite harshly. There's a lot of people out there that say that, you know, God will never talk to you harshly. You read the letters to the 7 churches and you're going to find out differently. He spoke very sternly and he rebuked them in a very powerful way. And sometimes he does that with us. And it's not pleasant to hear, but it's beneficial. It's exactly what those people needed to hear and what we need to hear as well. So don't resist it. And then the final one is scourge. Now this one sounds bad. It sounds like a physical beating. It is physical discipline. It would be like spanking your child, but it is not beating them. It's done with love. All of these forms of discipline are done with love. So today, I know, man, when you're going through those things, those trials, the hardship, it's hard. And sometimes we get discouraged. But remember, he reminds us to say, look to Jesus. He went through even more difficult stuff than we can think of. So don't lose heart. Don't get discouraged, and know that God loves you. And because he loves you, he wants better things for you, and he's training you and instructing you in the way that you should go. If you have questions, if you need ministry, need prayer, send me an email at curtis@rootsbythestream.com. And I'm believing that you're going to have a wonderful day. And remember, God is on the throne and Jesus is coming back soon. Have a blessed day.